After losing in the Grand Finals to EG at Champions 2023, PaperX went into 2024 showing that they were still a competitive team, making top 3 at Masters Madrid, top 6 at Masters Shanghai, and only losing to the eventual champions Edward Gaming in the group stage at Champions 2024. However, coming into 2025, PaperX looked completely different.
They got destroyed by DFM. And what the hell was this 13-1 performance on Pearl?
The chaotic PaperX playstyle that everyone knew and loved was no longer able to catch teams off guard, and they were getting punished for it. But it was too early to know if PaperX needed to make a change, and with Stage 1 coming up, it was the opportunity that PaperX needed to prove that Kickoff was just a fluke, and that they were still able to compete at a world-class level. PaperX had a tough road ahead of them, with DRX and Gen G as their first 2 matches in Stage 1. These were teams that were considered some of the best teams in the region, and no one expected them to win. Even though PaperX was able to take a map off of DRX, they were unable to take the series.
My takeaway watching this game was that PaperX played 2 good halves. Their attack on Haven and their attack on Icebox. Yeah. And then I wasn't really picking up what the rest of PaperX were putting down.
The following week, they went up against a very strong Gen G, and once again, PaperX was able to take a map, but was unable to take the series, and earned their 2nd loss in a row.
PaperX have lost now their 2nd match of the stage, their 3rd loss in a row. How dire is the present situation for PaperX? How worried are we truly about the future for PaperX?
Pretty worried.
Very.
At least where I am. Yeah, I think pretty worried.
Like, okay, yeah, their fracture looks good. That's the end of it.
I just feel like they need 3 to 2 months longer to get to the right level on all the roles that people are playing.
After so many months of finding no success, it was time for PaperX to make a change. After Kickoff, PaperX had signed Patman, a young player from the Philippines with a limited international experience but potential to be a strong player, but he stayed on the bench for the beginning of Stage 1. However, after going down 0-2, PaperX decided to bring Patman to the starting roster in place of Mindfreak, in order to solve role issues. The fans were outraged and felt like this was the wrong move. Nonetheless, Mindfreak was transitioned into an assistant coach role to work alongside Alex. So the question was simple: could PaperX still be PaperX without him? As Stage 1 continued, with a close loss to Boom Esports, the early answer seemed to be no, or at least not yet.
Everyone's having a really rough time trying to work out their agents at the moment, and they need time and they don't have time, unless we're just focusing on Stage 2.
At this point, PaperX's playoff chances were slim. Going down 0-3, they would need to win the next 2 games to qualify for the playoffs, and even then, they would be placed in a lower bracket where even 1 loss would mean elimination.
Even if they get 4th, they're not doing anything in playoffs. They need 2 months.
Most of the players look like they just are completely lacking confidence. Even if they are a team that has had such high highs of being, finalists in 2 different internationals, one of them being champions, if they're in a slump and they're struggling to regain confidence to where they could just take basic 1v1 duels, that's difficult to get them back in the right mental state.
Luckily for PaperX, their next 2 opponents were Global Esports and DFM, 2 of the lowest performing teams in Pacific. If PRX won both, then they could start a miracle run that would shock the world and prove that they are still a world-class team.
If I had to describe this game, I would describe it as kind of like you're outside a pub and it's quite late at night, and all of a sudden you hear a commotion and you see that 2 drunk people are really fighting. And it's not technically the best fighting you've ever seen. They're not professional fighters or anything, but they are fucking swinging at each other. They are going for it, and it's hella entertaining. That's how I describe this game.
PaperX finally got a win, but it wasn't anything to get excited over. The series was close, and PaperX barely scraped by with an overtime win on Pearl, and in round 20, Jing made a crucial play which many consider the beginning of PaperX's miracle run, and without it, who knows what would have happened to the PaperX we all know and love. The score is 11-8 for DFM, and PaperX are in a 3v2 retake. However, both Patman and Devi swing into Jinboom, who takes them both down, leaving Jing in a seemingly unwinnable 1v2. But Jing is able to do the impossible.
Get on it. Can he try and do anything here? The blaze helps. The recon, though, not shot down. He goes for the peak. The double micro flick to save PaperX.
PaperX went on to win the map 15-13, but PaperX was still far from world class. But hopes were high that PaperX could at least make the playoffs.
Is there any part of you whatsoever that thinks, who knows, maybe they could go on a run.
I was gonna say, this is where this is going. Are they going to
Paper
Toronto?
Rex.
There is a world. I think it's a really small world. We're at least going to playoffs. I can tell you that much.
Going into the next week, not only did PaperX beat Global Esports 2-0, but they did so dominantly, winning 13-5 on Split and 13-9 on Lotus. This was the first time it felt like PaperX actually had something going for them. Even though they still had a lot to improve to get to the top again, the fans were finally starting to see that spark from PaperX, the same one that took down top teams like EDG and Team Heretics in 2024. However, people didn't think that they could make a serious run in playoffs. With T1 as their first matchup, everyone wrote PaperX off as eliminated. And on the first map, it looked like the PaperX train was finally derailed, losing 3-13 on Fracture. But miraculously, they came back to win the next two maps 13-4 and 13-2. Not only that, but they went on to win their next match against Boom Esports in a 2-0 fashion. And finally, people had faith that PaperX could be a competitive team.
Like when you go back and like watch all the little pieces, like some of the things PaperX were doing over towards A and the little different setups they had, it got me worried about this train.
They're actually playing like really well. Their Fracture comp isn't great. They don't really have a drone, but you don't really need a drone when you got a train.
However, not everyone believed in the PaperX train.
The problem that I'm having again here, Sliggy, is that PaperX have played now 4 times and they have 4 wins. And they've played against 2 of the worst teams in Pacific. And then they've played...
A Masters winner. And then a team that came first in their group.
A fraud.
Now, do you think T1 playing like this would have won Masters?
They did.
No, they didn't, Sliggy. They didn't play like this in their games to win Masters.
PaperX do look a hell of a lot better. They look a hell of a lot cleaner. They have a solid idea of what they're doing compared to previously. It is definitely not the Masters winners, and it is definitely not the stage winners that they are playing against.
By beating Boom Esports, PaperX was 1 match away from qualifying for Masters Toronto, but it would be a tough match to win as they were going against a very hungry DRX, who had their sights set on attending an international event.
I think it would be overall better to have PaperX, RQ, and Gen G as the representatives, but I also think that DRX is tired of like getting beat up by PaperX and being denied and shit. Like, I think that they will really want to attend with this roster. Actually, if PaperX win this game, they win Toronto. Cancel the fucking tournament. It's over. We're done.
PaperX went on not only to beat DRX, but do so 2-0, qualifying for Masters Toronto. There have been a couple turning points already in the PaperX Miracle Run. Jing's 1v2 versus DFM, the introduction of Patman to the roster, and even just making it to the playoffs. But beating DRX and qualifying for Masters Toronto is what truly made people believe that PaperX was back.
This here, PaperX go in for their hard hits, and DRX are expecting like the next level aggression, and they contact up. They just temper it in the middle. They contact up and they find picks and they win the round off the back of it. This is a new PaperX.
Like Brent said, the discipline is insane. But on top of that, they finally learned that right now it's all about re-clearing for information, right? So you can actually play to your strengths with PaperX, you just don't have to overdo it.
PaperX went on to lose a close series to RRQ in the lower bracket finals. Even though people believed RRQ was the better team, many people also believed that PaperX could have won this series and made it to the Pacific Grand Finals. Yet, winning the playoffs was never the train's destination to begin with. The PaperX train's real destination was... Aside from the fans, PaperX had another thing on their side going into Masters Toronto. And that was Valorant patch 10.09, which came out shortly after Stage 1. This patch nerfed both Breach and Tejo, 2 agents who PaperX struggled to incorporate into their comps. With this in mind, many people had high hopes for PaperX, and despite them starting in the Swiss stage, many people had them making the playoffs, but no one expected them to win it all.
Would you vote for
what did Wyatt vote for?
PaperX?
Number 4?
Yeah.
PaperX.
Oh my god.
Would you vote for Sentinels over PaperX?
Yes, I would.
God, this guy's fucking biased.
Yet, match by match, track by track, PaperX was able to make it through the Swiss stage, only losing once to Gen G. But surely some of the best teams in the world would be able to stop the PaperX train, right? Not only had PaperX made it to the Grand Finals at Masters Toronto, an event they weren't even supposed to make in the first place, but they did it without losing a map. However, PaperX's last matchup was their hardest one yet. FNATIC seemed like an impossible opponent to beat, but the same could be said about PaperX. The series started with Sunset, and FNATIC came out swinging, winning the first 4 rounds. But PaperX didn't make it all the way to the grand finals of an international event, just to crash at the finish line. So they came back and won the next 8 rounds, starting off Sunset with an 8-4 attack half. The second half was close, closing in on a 12-11 scoreline, with PaperX leading by 1, and they won this round in the most PaperX way possible.
Paranoia forwards already, PaperX. Very fast play indeed. That's sick. And the Warlock. None. The bloody ones.
The next map wasn't any less intense. FNATIC was able to gain a lead on Icebox, 12-7. But miraculously, PaperX was able to win the next 5 rounds in a row to bring it to overtime. FNATIC was eventually able to take down PaperX in quadruple overtime, 17-15. But PaperX made it clear that Sunset wasn't just a fluke, and if FNATIC wants to win, they will have to earn it on every map. The story continued on Pearl, where once again FNATIC was in the lead late into the game, 10-8, and once again, PaperX stole the win right from FNATIC, winning the next 5 rounds in a row to win the map 13-10, ending on a Forsaken 1v2 clutch.
FNATIC are against the brink. And Forsaken the one to deliver it. The death blow potentially here on this map. And Forsaken!
Now, with PaperX leading 2-1 in the series, we head to Lotus, the same map that EG beat PaperX on in 2023 to win Champions LA. And here PaperX was again, faced with similar consequences. If FNATIC were able to win this map, the series would go to map 5, and FNATIC would be right where they want to be, Split. Up to this point, FNATIC had an 80% win rate on Split, and there's a good chance that if PaperX let the series go to the final map, they would lose at yet another international grand final. And even though just making it to this point after a 0-3 start to stage 1 was an achievement to be proud of, it would be wrong to go home without the trophy. So going into Lotus, there was a lot of pressure for PaperX. Lotus was just as close as the other maps, but this time, PaperX took the early lead, beating FNATIC 11-7. But FNATIC wasn't done yet. Consisting of multiple world-class talents, they couldn't let PaperX win this easily, and they turned the game around, winning 5 rounds in a row to lead the game 12-11. But luckily for PaperX, they had Yoru, Fade, and Omen ult, against no ults from the side of FNATIC. So now it was just up to PaperX to take this game back.
Something with the exit all the way out, Alpha's all the way in, and Chronicle just drops them in their tracks. Alpha cleaned up Boaster.
FNATIC dropped, Chron and Alpha gone. FNATIC are going to have to try to close with only Kayak and Crashies.
It rebounds. PaperX looking to stay alive in this map. FNATIC want to send it that much deeper. TPs. Yuto could not be even better there. But stops to the side, Batman. Double dash again. We are going the distance.
And once again, we head to overtime. But this time, the entire series was on the line. And unfortunately for FNATIC, PaperX was in control of this game.
Far to the corner, but you're out in the open, and Forsaken and Divide collecting all sorts of kills and attempt to even it out. Kayak still has that control. PaperX all the way in. PaperX are the ones in control.
PaperX was now only 1 round away from shocking the Valorant world by making it all the way from the bottom of their region to the top of an international event. Round 26 started out with FNATIC dominating PaperX, getting the first 3 kills, and everyone expected this map to go to another overtime. But luckily for PaperX, Forsaken and something had other plans.
Patience is there, but the paranoia. Hold on, you to that with your hand. Forsaken, he's icing the fights. And something is wrecking them from on high. PaperX doing all.
Oh my god! Holy shit, 2v4? Oh man, PaperX did it, dude.
It's over! They did it!
Dude, one of the most insane run I've seen in Valorant. The most insane run, dude.
Hello, welcome to Plaid Chat Valorant episode 200. Okay, right, we'll start that one again, shall we? But welcome to Plaid Chat. Welcome to Plaid Chat Valorant. Welcome.
Welcome to Plaid Chat Valorant episode 222.
This trophy meant so much to PaperX. Jing, Forsaken, Devi, and Mindfree were finally able to get a trophy after competing for over 4 years, and they were able to do it together. Patman was able to prove that despite being a rookie, he deserves to play in the VCT. And something was finally able to prove to the haters that PaperX can still be successful with him. PaperX had to fight against the odds, against meta changes, role issues, and roster changes. And even then, they looked shaky. But when it mattered most, PaperX delivered for their fans, and delivered for the Valorant world.